Back with the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop, 7:30, and I'm already warning you we're going to go late for news here because we've got a lot to talk with Kadence Koen. She is a teacher by profession, but somebody who is not going to work today because of concerns over having to submit to weekly tests or to have to show the proof that she was vaccinated. And she says that it's really not something she's comfortable doing. She has a conscious decision of determining her own health care. And she joins us now live in studio. Kadence, thanks for taking time with us this morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, but some of these headlines are pretty wild. And we've been looking at stuff happening around the world, from protests in the streets of France to Australia to Norway to possible protests over vaccine passports in New York. We've seen the Massachusetts State Police see dozens of people resign because of vaccine mandates. We've seen questions about healthcare workers and whether there's going to be a crunch for staff. You're a teacher. What happened? And go ahead and pull that microphone close to you a little bit.
Okay.
And give us the background here. What happened?
I have been a teacher for 12 years now, and I had a decision to make over the past month as to whether I would be willing to produce a vaccination card or submit to weekly testing. And the final decision had to be made this week, and I came to the conclusion that it's my body, it's my choice. I am in charge of making my own healthcare decisions. That is in line with not only the federal government, but also the state of Illinois laws. So I have politely declined to produce a vaccination card or to take a weekly test.
So what does this weekly test consist of that you've been told that you have to submit to if you don't want to show your vaccine status?
It's a PCR test, and depending on how the PCR test runs depends on how accurate it is. I'm not a scientist, so I don't want to get into statistics and numbers with it, but I don't have a lot of faith in the test, one. But my understanding is whether you've been vaccinated or not vaccinated, you can still contract COVID. You can still pass COVID to other people. So only requiring the people that have not produced a card to take the test defeats the purpose of taking the test.
Kadence Koen joins us on the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop, and we've been talking about COVID-19 for a year and a half plus here. And we've seen, some of the changing of the conditions, saying, you don't need a mask, then you need a mask. And, we're not going to have vaccine mandates. And now we're going to have vaccine mandates. And we're not going to have vaccine passports, but private businesses can. Oh, wait, some states might look at vaccine passports and so on. What's this been like as a teacher? You went through all of last year. You had, your kids in school doing online learning. It's been a rough go for teachers, and now this is stacked on top.
It's been a rough go for the students, which is the heartbreaking part of it. We in Springfield went fully online for the first semester. Then second semester, the kids had the choice to be in person or online. I went back to school to teach, obviously prior to the vaccine even being available, and had some kids in the classroom and some kids that joined us over a Zoom link, and it was difficult. I'm fairly confident in making a statement that most kids, not all, but most kids did not learn as well in the online Zoom situation as what they do in person. And getting them back in the classroom, I think, is excellent, and I'm glad they're there. But it has certainly put a lot of stressors on the kids, on their learning, as well as on the teachers and their workload.
Your choice not to submit to weekly testing. You talked about the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act. Talk a bit about your understanding of this. What does it give? What rights does it give you as an individual?
It very clearly lays out that whether we're talking about testing, whether we're talking about vaccinations or any other medical treatments, that not the public employer nor the private employer has the right to force those decisions on you. And in addition to that, if you choose to decline whatever they are recommending, they cannot discriminate against you in any way, how, shape, or form.
So you're using that as essentially a basis of not complying with this.
Correct.
And it could lead to the loss of your job. Is that right?
That is a fact.
So you're on unpaid leave right now. How does this play out?
I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids in college right now, so it plays out right now. That's kind of a scary situation.
Oh.
Not a decision I came to lightly, But I feel like as a mom and a teacher, it is on my shoulders to teach the kids how to stand up for what they believe in, whether it's my kids or somebody else's kids. And I pray regularly that this works out in my favor and I get to go back to school. If not, I suppose I'm glad my degrees are in business and math, and there are other job opportunities available for me.
You do also have that mandate, possibly from the Biden administration. It's got to go through OSHA, even to require employers of 100 or more, right? Is that something that you're looking at, and the possibility of future employment, or is it like a bridge we cross when we get there type thing?
The 14th Amendment will get that one struck down. States have the power over the federal government in that situation.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be sued. Right. There are lawsuits that are coming over that. Half the country's governors are already saying that.
One step at a
time. We're talking with Kadence Koen. She is a teacher by trade, and she's on unpaid leave right now from the Springfield Public School District, correct?
Yes.
And still unclear as to how this all plays out. But I've got to ask, any legal prospects here you're looking at? How are you going to handle this?
The benefits of this great country is our forefathers have set up a system to handle situations like this. And within the confines of the law, I will be pursuing that. And that's about all the further I can get into that right now.
Totally understand. We're talking again with a teacher who is on unpaid leave for not spitting in a cup. I mean, it's it's what it comes down to, right?
Yes.
It's you're not willing to give your DNA to a testing facility off-site somewhere to be able to process that. Who knows how they're going to process it, but to give you some kind of little green check mark so that you're good. You're opposing that. You don't want to have to submit to that or even set a precedent in that fashion. Kadence, what's the reaction been from your fellow teachers, from your family, from others that, and even the negative stuff I'm sure you've heard,
absolutely.
right? What's the reaction been like?
Both of my boys are in college. They both came home this weekend just to double check on their mama and make sure she was hanging in there. My family's great. I got engaged about a month ago. And
congrats.
Thank you. And he has been amazingly supportive. My teachers that are my friends, they all don't agree with me, but they 100% support me. As far as my friends go, some of them find it silly that this is the hill I'm climbing up on and the job I'm giving up or possibly giving up, and I can understand and respect their opinion. My former students, again, some agree, some disagree, but 100% support me, and when I went to Facebook to explain what was going on, the kids were amazing. Love you, Cohen, miss you, Cohen, best teacher I ever had, and when I left school on Thursday, they had me in tears a couple times, and I'm not a crier. Now, there's definitely been some negative comments, and I understand and respect that also. What I'm fighting for here are the liberties of this country, and one of those liberties is freedom of speech. So if I stand for one liberty, I stand for all of them, and anybody that has an educated, thought-out opinion, I respect and appreciate it, and use your freedom of speech. Take advantage of all of your liberties. That's why this is a great country. The only thing I wish is that we could find a way to disagree and still be civil.
Kadence Koen is a teacher by trade. She joins us in studio on the WMAY morning news feed. I do want to get your reaction to one thing that the Fraternal Order of Police put out. They put out a statement over the weekend on the possibility of contemplating changes to the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act. And I'll just read this to you briefly here. As we have previously stated, this is coming from the Fraternal Order of Police, who we'll talk with a little bit later on in the show this morning. As we previously stated, we're not opposed to COVID-19 vaccine. We're opposed to being forced to take it. Furthermore, Illinois Fraternal Order of Police vehemently opposed to any proposed changes to the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act that would diminish any individual's right to their religious liberties and choose what is or is not right to inject into their bodies. Have you heard any discussion about changing or altering the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act? And would you support keeping it as it is, or?
I absolutely support keeping it how it is. It's my body, my choice. And that is the first I've heard of it with the police. But good for them. It's a law, it's in place, and it's there for a reason.
And they say conscience is an individual's most sacred right, and the constitutional right of religious freedom prevents the government from imposing the beliefs of one segment of the population onto another. Kadence, greatly appreciate your time this morning. Let's stay in touch, please, so we can keep updated on what's going on with your particular job situation and any movement you move towards one way or the other. All right.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
This is the WMAY morning news feed now, 7:30.